Hey everybody, here is a Vault of Horror number 30. This came in today. It was an eBay purchase. This is a book that was used in the Seduction of the Innocent hearings in the Senate in the 1950s. Cautionary tale. So the book really appears well, and all the pictures that were on eBay were great. The seller said that the book was almost completely split through the spine, and it was detached at both staples. So I got excited about looking at the pictures, and as with anything else, as soon as I got it out, I was happy, and of course it was definitely detached at the staples, like completely detached at the staples. So another project, unfortunately. But one thing I wanted to share with you is when we check these books, we always do a page count, which I have already done, but we also want to use an ultraviolet light. If you don't have one, I highly recommend it. It shows little details that you might miss. So I'm going to kill the lights here, and we're going to turn this on and see what we see. All right. So what we want to do is go over the cover, and everything looks great. I did come across some stuff on the wraps though. So let's go ahead and turn the lights back on, and I'll set this aside for the time being, as this is going to have to undergo some major surgery that we've done before, so I'm not too worried about it. But I was going through the wraps earlier. Now, there's a little bit of these strange stains in here. Now I'm going to go ahead and kill the lights again. Alright, so hopefully these will show up on the camera. So let's see if I can show an angle here. Yeah, it's not showing up very well on the camera. Let me see if I get a weird angle here. There we go. So that right there, it's invisible to the naked eye. However, it shows up very brightly under ultraviolet. So I don't know what it is. Again, it's up here. There's another spot right there. I'm trying to find a nice angle where the camera will pick up the ultraviolet. There it is. Just kind of, see if I'll pull this off, but it's right there. And unfortunately, it's actually throughout the book. I thought it was right where it's at, and I could look at it, like in the spine. It's all through here, and down here, down low. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it. You can see a little bit of these spots are everywhere, and that's throughout the wrap. So I'm going to go turn the lights back on here. So, but looking at this, at the wrap, where these spots are right here, and I would normally say these are foxing spots, and there's some staining right here, but this is what's showing up in the ultraviolet. It's not foxing. Foxing does not react to an ultraviolet light, so I just don't know what this could possibly be. Yeah, unfortunately this isn't showing up for the camera. But I went through the book, and I took some still pictures of a very large spot right here. Now, it looks okay, from offset, but you can see right there, right by the tip of my thumb, there's something there. Now, let's take a look at this one underneath the ultraviolet. Yeah, there you go. You can see it. It's you know, I know this is hard for you to see, but it's super, super bright fluorescent. Now, this isn't paint touch-up or anything like that. I don't know what it is, but it's definitely something. There's no texture to it. It's in the paper. So we're going to be de-acidifying this book. So when we do that, we're going to go ahead and, fingers crossed, whatever that is some sort of stain that the ultraviolet picks up. Now, it's also up over here on the opposite page, right here. There, you can see it right there. Now, guess what? They marry up just fine. So there was something on somebody's fingers that, well, they boogered up the book. So anyway, I just want to share with you, the use of an ultraviolet light. I highly recommend it. These can be found on eBay, or correction, not eBay, but Amazon. This one by Eclipse, I think I paid someplace around $30. I use it all the time, especially on these expensive books. I mean, this particular book, if it were in great shape, I mean, this would be several $1,000s. It's not in great shape. It's got a split spine down here. We're going to have to mend all these wraps, and we're going to go for conserved grade on this book. I just hope we can get these funny stains out. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take the staples out. So whenever I do that, I always put, let's see, Vault of Horror, and put T and B. That's for the staples. So what we want to do, this will preserve the orientation of the staples when we take them out. The staples appear to be in really great shape. So I looked at them earlier up close. Let me see, let's go to the center section here. And they look great. There's no rust anywhere. Now we're looking for a good copperish patina on this, and it looks perfect. These are original staples. So we're going to go ahead and take these out now. So I'm going to flatten this out, and I have a couple of things that I use. I use my spatula, the pointy end, and I also use my staple removal tool from Rick Morgan at Immaculate Comics. And if you're not familiar, go visit Rick's website. He makes some really cool tools for working on comic books. So I'll show you how this is used. So the first thing we're going to do with this top staple, it looks like it's already sprung slightly, so I'm going to lift it just a hair. Now, with the tool here, it's got a nice groove in it, so I'm going to put that down right over the top of the other piece. And what we're going to do is, that keeps the paper from getting torn. And the spatula I'm using is a Teflon coated spatula because I don't want to mar the staple. There we go. There's one. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and insert that staple through that leg right there and apply downward pressure. And with that, we're going to start lifting up the opposite leg to where it's vertical. All right, so now you can see that the staple is kind of a little bit on the cattywampus side, I guess you could say. But it's kind of crooked, the legs aren't oriented. This is fine. So what we're going to do, another thing I want to show you here too. So I have the staple, and again we're going to go back to the staple tool. We're going to go ahead and insert the staple. He's got precision drilled holes specifically for the legs of the staple. So in doing so, like this, we can now orient the staple correctly. Bend it over, bend that one so everything's, so it comes out looking very much like it should when it went in the book. And there you have it. So with these staples from these books, and I'm not worried here, I checked the orientation, so you're going to see one leg is slightly longer, this one here is slightly longer than that one. That's just the way that they were manufactured, and almost always the shorter leg is on the bottom, and that is the case with this one. So we're going to take, and I'm going to go ahead and lift this tape here, and I'm going to put down the staple underneath the T, and that's proper orientation. And you're also looking at here. Now remember, the staple comes through from the other side. So you're not making a hole, you're pushing a sharp object, being the staple leg, through paper. So the paper comes up and just kind of expands out. And that's what you see here with this torn paper. Now, when we de-acidify this, and we're going to press these wraps completely flat. I mean, there's not even going to be a bend in it. The reason we do that, because if you look up here, hopefully the camera will pick it up, you see a slight little fold right there. That's a printing fold, which is not going to get you a downgrade, but it's just one of those things it's not pleasant to look at. So when we do the wraps, we're going to take them out, they're going to be pressed flat. We're actually going to cover it, these holes, we're going to press the paper right back into the holes. You're not even going to see it in some of the wraps. The hole is there, of course. So when we put the staple back in, we'll have to orient the holes. So let's go ahead and take out the lower staple here now, and we'll put that, and then let's take an examination on the wraps. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get this on. I'm going to flip this up just a little bit more here. There we go. And again, we insert the staple in there to keep it upright. And we gently, using the Teflon spatula, and you can use your fingers, you know, you just don't want to bend anything. And there we go. So now I'll go ahead and pull this one out, and we'll do the same thing. All right, so this one looks pretty good. So we're just going to go ahead and slide this right in under here, and let's take a look at these wraps. Okay, the center wrap is always the weakest wrap, because other than the cover, the staples always are anchored to this particular wrap. Now, you can see the holes are pretty roughed up. It's, you know, this book is, you know, it's old. I mean, it's 70 years old. So you can see the holes are a little bit stretched out. So what we're going to do, being that this is going to be a conserved grade, there's no way around it with the cover split in two pieces. We're going to go ahead and reinforce the staple holes just on this back side. That way, when we pull all the wraps together, they will go ahead and lock in. We'll get a nice tight spine out of it, which is really what we're after. Okay, so looking at these wraps, there's a couple that have splits in here. I don't know that we'll do a repair on them. I try to keep the repairs to a minimum, but just enough to make the book structurally sound. Now, this paper has a lot of tannins in it, to the point where it's got a yellow hue to it, not necessarily tan. So what you're seeing on the camera is accurate. Again, I don't know what those spots that showed up under the fluorescent light are, but I really want them to come out, because we are going to send it in for a conserved grade. And in doing so, that's going to entail them taking a close look at it. And they are going to use ultraviolet light like I showed you. So far, I'm not seeing any page splits, which I'm happy with. I'm expecting them to materialize at some point. These books are very old. They're quite brittle. especially with all the tannins in the papers. But so far this is looking pretty good. I know that very first wrap is split, so that one's going to take a repair. Okay, now these are starting to get a little bit weaker through here. And this is actually the first wrap, or the cover wrap is technically the first wrap. So we've got a large split here. Now the trick is the paper missing? And you got a cross tear here and a cross tear here. This paper is here, it's just folded over. So we're going to introduce some moisture in this when we deacidify it. And during that process, we're going to fold it over, and then we're going to reinforce this, but from the underside, because we don't want to be able to see the repair. So that's what we're trying to avoid. So, okay, so there you have it. I think we have a project. Yeah, next time I'll pay more attention to detached at the staples. Yeah, no kidding. It was like fully detached and split in half. So anyway, fun little project. I know people shake your heads when I do these things and call them fun projects. They are fun. They're educational. I do enjoy what I do. And people ask me, you know why I go to the trouble to do what we do. You know what? We're preserving these things. These tannins that are in the papers. These papers will crumble into nothingness in 50 years. I mean, it's just going to be dust because the tannins continue, the acids continue to eat away at the paper. So by deacidifying the paper, you're preserving it for maybe another 100. But if somebody wants to read it, they'll be able to. Okay, let's get started. One thing that I was asked to do was demonstrate how I dry these after I wet clean them. First of all, because there's always a big concern about shrinkage and changing the size of the paper. So what we're going to do is take a measurement of this particular book in millimeters. And looking at it, it is 357 millimeters by 260. So 357 by 260. Double check all these measurements, and what we're going to do is we're going to wet, clean, press, do all the things that we need to do. Okay, so now that we've got that out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and bring our trusty tray in, and we got a nice fresh piece of Hollytex. And for those of you that are new to the channel, this is what we use to when we're doing wet cleaning. We sandwich a wrap, covers included, in between here. And I'll go get another piece. And we're going to clean with calcium hydroxide today. Now, calcium hydroxide is basically, it's an antacid, kind of like a Tums, for your comic book or paper. And this is what is used by archivists for documentations and in libraries and things like that to preserve the documents. And of course, this is always the nerve-wracking part for everybody is when we actually get it wet. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to press this down, and I'm going to pour the calcium hydroxide mixture, and I'll put the mixture description or the mixture recipe in the description. So just a little bit in there, just we want to submerge the wrap. And when we do this, I like to just put my thumbs down on here and we just roll it around. And this is going to neutralize any acids in the paper. And we're going to do this for about 5 minutes. I'm not going to make you sit on the video for 5 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera off, and we'll come back after 5 minutes. I'll show you what this wrap looks like. Okay, so it's been about 5 minutes, and as you can see, those little bubbles you're seeing is there's a little bit of hydrogen peroxide in the calcium hydroxide. And that hydrogen peroxide is attacking some of the things in the paper and removing it. But now what I want to do is turn this in a corner here. You can see how brown this is just after 5 minutes. So what we're going to do is we're going to pour this off and we're going to run it through another rinse of calcium hydroxide, this time without hydrogen peroxide, until we get a nice clear running fluid over it. Then we know we got all the tannins out. Okay, so this is the second rinse, and as you can see, it's getting a little bit lighter. You can see down here in the corner. So I think we're good with this. So I'm going to go ahead and pour this off. Now, I was requested to take, everyone to know how I actually do a wrap. So I'm going to take you through every single step. So please be patient. So we're going to go ahead and pour this off and dry it out. Okay, so all the calcium hydroxide has been taken out, or poured out, I should say. Now, what I do is I take my nice roll of brawny paper towels, and I do reuse these. I just don't have any here right now that are dry because I've been going through them like crazy. So all we're going to do is just lay this over the top, and we're going to pull all the moisture out. Any excess calcium hydroxide, things like that. Now the calcium hydroxide will stay in the paper. It's a preservation agent, so to speak. So I'll go ahead and peel this back. Let's get another sheet in here. Now I'm going to do this about 4 times, and then I'm going to take it upstairs, take you upstairs with me, and I'm going to show you how we dry this under pressure in the heat press, because that's been something people have been asking for. All right, so we're going to take this and I'll flip this over, and all the entire time we're going to keep it sandwiched in the Polytex until the wrap itself is actually done. Now this one has some splits in it, so what we're going to do before we do anything else is maybe make some repairs on it. Now I think we'll hold that off for a bit. We're just going to clean it right now because I want to keep all the wraps consistent. So again, we'll flip this over. And as you can see, it's getting a little bit lighter. That's because you're actually looking at the Polytex as it dries out. Okay. So now this is ready for the heat press. Well, everybody, I thought I'd give you a quick tour of the layer up here. You know, I have all the raw books up here, all the CGC books down below in these black bins. Over here, let me move this out of the way, we have our infamous blue light chamber. So there you have it. It's all mirrored inside. It's several layers of shelving in it. And this is going to be the studio once I get everything completed and I can get my dining room back. But yes, I do have 5 presses. And the one we're going to be working on here today is going to be right here, and I'm going to demonstrate for you exactly how we pressure dry a wrap. So bear with me. So we're going to go ahead and turn this on. I set it at 170 degrees. Make sure you can see all this. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take 2 galvanized steel plates. These are 12 inches by 18 inches, and the reason I use this is they're perfectly flat and they spread the heat out evenly. Now we're going to take our wrap, which I have over here. Now this is just as I brought it up from downstairs, and we're just going to lay it right on top of this galvanized steel plate. And I'll show you right here. It's still sandwiched in between the Polytex. It's still wet. It's got paper towels on top. And what I'm going to do is lay a couple of extra towels. Now, you got to remember the heat press. The heat comes from the top down. And when it does that, just like anything else, water wants to get away from the heat, so it goes downward. So most of the water will be trapped in the lower paper towel. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and take another sheet on top. I'm going to go ahead and swing this down. Now, you're just dealing with a single sheet, and we're going to go ahead and clamp this down. And I want it as tight as I can, so I'm going to run it all the way down. And when I say I'm drying it under pressure, I'm drying it under pressure. So this is going to run for 10 minutes, and we'll come back to it. In between the 10 minutes is 2 cycles of 10 minutes, but I'm going to change out all the paper towels until the thing's completely flat. Now, with the paper towels, and I'll show you when it's done, it's going to leave paper towel impressions on the book. Is that okay? Yeah, absolutely, because what we're going to do is after this wrap is done, it's going to end up in the blue light chamber. I know not everybody has a blue light chamber, but in this particular case, that's what is going to happen. And the paper will contract a little bit. After that, it will go into the humidity tank just for a short time, just to get a little bit moisture back in, and then I'll run you through how we press it absolutely smooth. Yeah, it'll take out all those little paper towel wrinkles, everything, and I'll show you that in a little bit. Okay, so we're at our stage where we're going to go ahead and, as I like to call it, changing the diaper. So slide this out. We'll take off the first plate and we'll peel back this paper towel. And it's damp. I mean, it did pull a lot of the moisture out. And I have 2 sheets. I do reuse my sheets, by the way. So we'll go ahead and put this on here. Now, like I said, most of the moisture went into this bottom sheet, which is always wetter than the last. So now we're going to go ahead and put 2 more nice dry sheets, because the water always seeks something dry. That's it. We're going to go ahead and put the sandwich back, and we're going to run it one more time at 10 minutes. And when it's under pressure like this, it keeps it from stretching. So we'll come back. Okay, so we've had our second 10-minute session. So now we can go ahead and slide this out. I'll take this, peel back. The wrap is absolutely 100% dry now. I can take the Polytex off right away. And there you have it. Now this is that first wrap. This is that one that has the tear in it. So there's not much I can do with that till we repair it. Okay, so there you have it. And I'll go ahead and humidify this a little bit more, and let's come back. And I decided to put off the blue light chamber basically for the purpose of demonstrating how we get it smooth now, because this literally has some wrinkles in it. I don't know if you can see them on the camera or not. That's from the paper towels. So there's paper towel imprints on both sides, so we need to get rid of that. So now we've got this smoothed out. We're going to rehumidify it in the tank for maybe 10 minutes, and we'll come back, and then I'm going to show you how we press an absolutely perfectly flat, smooth wrap. Hold on. Okay, so the wrap that we were just working on has been in the humidity chamber for about 5-10 minutes. So what we want to do to make sure we get a perfectly smooth wrap is we're going to take backer boards, typical shiny side up, and we're going to put these down, just butt them up against each other. Now what we want to do, and of course I didn't have any handy, is I need 6 sheets of 11 by 17 paper. Now, this is perfectly smooth, which is what we want. And they're also going to be semi-absorbent. So I'm going to put 3 sheets down, 2, 3. And that's going to lay down right on top of these backer boards. So now I have a absolutely smooth surface right here. Okay, let's put our wrap down. Now you remember we took it out of the Hollytex. We don't need that anymore because this wrap just absorbed very, very little moisture, but it's enough to make it very pliable. So we're going to go ahead and put that in here, lay it down just like that. Now we're going to take another 3 sheets, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to put it right on top of this. Okay, 2 more backer boards, smooth side down. Like that, and then our steel plate. Now that is our sandwich. And right back to the same process, same temperature, 170 degrees for 10 minutes. And this time we only have to do 1 cycle. All right, back in 10 minutes. Okay, we're done with our wrap. I'll turn that off. Now, hopefully the camera will show this. We'll take everything apart. Steel plate, our 2 backer boards. We'll keep our 3 sheets of paper. Now, not only has this been pressed flat, it looks wonderful. It takes out all the wrinkles. It is absolutely smooth, and all we have to do is do the repair. Now before we do the repair, I am going to do the blue light chamber because I want to lighten the page before we start adding Japanese paper to seal the tears. So there you have it. That is exactly how I press a wrap flat.